Manchester United have announced the signing of Diego Leon, and I'm very happy about that. I'm very excited about the player, but we obviously can't ask too much of a young kid coming into a new country, not knowing the language. But Ruben Amorim has every right to be furious about this transfer window. You know, Diego Leon is not a first team signing. He's not someone that is going to come in to start the first game of the season. We've only had one player that has come in to start the first game of the season, and that is Mateus Cunha. Nobody has gone. The Rashford, the Antony, the Sancho, the Malacia, the Garnacho situation. We've got detail about that, the stance going on. And I feel for Amorim. I do feel for Amorim, and we're going to talk about that. We've got updates on Gyökeres, his price. We've got updates on Rashford, the latest on his exit, the situation going down there. What is the latest on Mbeumo, which we're going to spend 30 seconds on because I'm fed up of talking about Mbeumo. What is the latest on Sancho? And obviously some interesting links to Thuram. I don't think there's much in it, but the inter-striker Thuram has now had some interesting links to Manchester United. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute roundup, where we're going to round up all the latest Manchester United news in 10 minutes for you guys. Let's get right into it. Woo! A signing! Yeah! Woo! 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 We're winning the league! Woo! Woo! Now, I'm only joking, but Diego Leon has been announced. We knew he was going to be announced this week. Good signing, good player. £4 million could raise to 7 million or 8 million in add-ons if he succeeds at Manchester United. South American gem. We missed out on Julian Alvarez. We missed out on Moises Caicedo all those years ago. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Vival Wilcox, South American gem. I like the signing. I like the way he speaks, how he wants to make an impact, how he's going to go on pre-season. I love it. I think this is a good signing. He's very physically good for his age. He looks very good. He looks like a very good long-term fit for the system. And he looks like a player with the right technical and physical attributes to become a top player in the future. But you've got to remember, this isn't someone that's going to come in and start the first game of the season, which is what Ruben Amorim needs. This is someone for the future. And I like these players for the future. I like these signings for the future. I'm excited about it. But we need more. But before we talk about that, I do want to say, while I'm excited about this player, I liked his interview. I liked what he was saying. It is important to remember, as United Robbo said here, that he only just turned 18 in April. He's never lived in England. He doesn't speak the language yet. He doesn't know anybody in England. He's going to be eased into the club. A little bit like Sekou Kone. Sekou Kone never played a game for us last season, unless you count the postseason tour. But he never played a professional game for us last season, only the friendlies, because we were easing him into a new language, new culture, new everything. I think he even lived with, like, Guardians or something there. So, while I'm excited about the signing, while I think this is a really good bit of business for Manchester United and he looks quite physically ready, even if he struggles in his first few games, let's not write him off and act like he isn't good enough because he struggles in his first few games. Because believe it or not all players are like Lamine Yamal at 18, 19. Elanga, look at the stick Elanga got. He start games for us now. You know, people thought he was never going to be a good enough player because he wasn't good enough at 18. You know, people are giving Maino stick this season. It's ridiculous. You know, let's not put too high expectations on this guy. Let's be excited. Let's say this is a good bit of business, but he's only just turned 18. He's coming to a new league, and let him enjoy life, let him settle in. You know, it'd be great to see him get some opportunities and push his way in, and I think he's more than capable of that. I think it's a good signing, and I'm excited, and I think we've got every right to be excited about this from the way that he's speaking. But it is one that you've got to be patient with. Like Chido, we might get some minutes at the end of the season, but let's not put too high expectations on and go, this is a good signing for the youth. And we've made a lot of good signings for the youth, and I'm very happy with that bit of the club. But what I'm not happy is this. Ruben Amorim wanted Rashford, Sancho, Alejandro Garnacho and Antony all sold by July. This was said by Oliver Kay, who's a good source of information. Amorim, I think, has every right to be furious about this window. Cool, we've announced the signing of Diego Leon today, great. But we could have announced that last week, we could have announced that the week before. I know, obviously, there's paperwork and stuff. Where's Mbeumo? It's been over a month. Where's Mbeumo? Amorim has every right to be fuming. He made it clear he does not want Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho or Antony back for training July 7th. But if he doesn't bring them back for pre-season tour, I guess it makes our negotiating position worse. He wants all four gone. You know, if Antony was out the door, we could relax a bit, but none of the four are gone. Not one single sale. And the problem is, we now hear that Real Betis are trying to get Antony on loan. Real Betis have just made 50 million in sales, and they're trying to get Antony on loan again. Teams are mugging us off because they know we're desperate. We know that they're crap in the window. Barcelona are willing to pay up for all of these players, like Luis Diaz and this and that, but they can only do a loan for Rashford. Because it's so obvious that we want to get rid of Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho and Antony, everybody's trying to do loan deals because they similarly did a loan deal with Rashford to Villa. They've similarly done a loan deal with Sancho the last 2 seasons. And they're saying, why should we pay out when Man United will get desperate in August and go and do a loan deal? That's what I think it is. And Amorim has every right to be furious. Every right to be furious. Because we finished 15th. This is our worst season in Premier League history. And a full rebuild was promised. This isn't a manager that plays a similar style and system to Ten Hag that can get the best out of the current squad we have, which is what Dan Ashworth suggested we should do, and maybe we should have done if we're not going to have the money to spend and the finances as bad as they are. This is a manager that plays a completely different system, doesn't use the wingers like Ten Hag uses. He doesn't use fullbacks, he uses wingbacks. He plays a back three, he plays a midfield two. We don't even have a proper striker. This is someone that plays a completely different system to Ten Hag that has finished 15th, that was promised backing, and he's going to go back to training with one new player in and not a single player out, particularly the 4 he doesn't want back. No first team signing, 0 outgoings, no Garnacho, no Rashford, no Antony, no Malacia, despite Amorim pushing for their exits. None of them are gone. They're not welcome back for the first few weeks of training. They've got to find a move. Because he doesn't want them there. He doesn't want them being a distraction. He doesn't want them in the plans. Now, some of those players are happy to come back to training and put 100% in, but Amorim doesn't want them. Now, look, it's only just July. We're only just at the start of the window. Things can happen. Movement can happen. And, of course, we've got to be patient. And I'm all for that. I'm all for understanding that this is a process that will take time. Had Rashford gone out the door and maybe Antony, it felt like we're going to get here for Antony in the next 2 days, it'd be very different. I'm not expecting all of them to be gone and everyone to be in by now. But I think when we finish 15th and you've got 1 in and 0 outs, it's incredibly frustrating. I know it's just July. I know it takes time. I know that these deals could happen in good time, but it's frustrating. And Amorim has every right to be frustrated because pre-season has started. He's no closer to assembling a team. He wants a team to go on pre-season to be ready for next season. We could go on pre-season with just Cunha. And then we go into next season with 5 difficult games. And Amorim knows this. And this is why I feel for Amorim. Because Amorim knows this. He knows he's got 8 games in the Premier League max if he doesn't do well. 8 games max. Okay? And do you know what the difference between having a Mbeumo, Cunha and a striker in for pre-season and just having Cunha in for pre-season could make? A big difference. Look how Agathe took a few games to settle. Look how Xerxes took a few games to settle. If he has 3 or 4 signings in for pre-season, he can go on those first 8 games, tough games, Chelsea, City, Arsenal, with a little bit more organisation. But he's going to go on pre-season when he knows it's so important. He has to start the season right or he's gone, he's sacked, with maybe 1 new signing and not a single out. And I feel for Ruben Amorim. I really do. I really do. No clarity. Slow execution in the market. It's taken so long. Why are we working on 1 deal at a time? I get we don't want to overpay for Mbeumo. Brentford are taking the mick. I get these things take time, but it's incredibly frustrating. We've also got The Athletic coming out and saying that the club claims that while Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho, Antony and Malacia have asked to leave, some of the players' camps deny they've asked to leave and would be more than happy to return to training on Monday. I'm assuming Malacia would be more than happy to return to training on Monday, but probably wants to leave. I'm sure Rashford would be more than happy to return to training on Monday, but also wants to leave because there's a lot of coming out about Rashford ready to go back to training. Man United want those players gone and we can't sell them. And it's frustrating. And because we can't sell them, we can't do anything after Mbeumo if we can't sell them, which means Brentford know that and know that we're dragging out Mbeumo. It's just this whole scenario. And to make it even worse, I feel like the teams are just knowing that we're sort of desperate and knowing scenario. And the way we're being treated in the window is awful. Oliver Kay at The Athletic, good journalist, said there's renewed interest in Rashford from Barca after Nico Williams. Bayern are also interested after Nico Williams decided to stay, but a lower price. Rashford's not... Diaz is everyone's top priority. Luis Diaz is everyone's top priority. Rashford is there as a backup option if they can't get who they want on a cheaper price. Great. Real Betis now want to do loans for Antony. Sancho hasn't taken a wage cut yet. Garnacho, people want him for less than 50 million. Great. Man United want to make sure they don't get mugged off in the window. Great. Because it's not working. It's so frustrating. In terms of other news, reports from Portugal have said that Victor Gyökeres' 80 million valuation can be paid in 70 million euros fixed plus 10 million in add-ons. So you're still looking at a 60-odd million pound deal. I mean, I think this kind of report is absolutely useless to Manchester United unless Arsenal gets Sesko. Then it becomes and has a little bit of importance. There is updates on Mbeumo. Ready? Manchester United are edging closer to the signing of Bryan Mbeumo. There's growing confidence the deal will be done. July 3rd. This is what we've been told the last week or so. Just this. It's edging closer. It's edging closer. It will be done. It will be done. It's edging closer. Cool. There's no news on Mbeumo, let's be honest. There's no news. It's just the same. It's just the same old news on Mbeumo. There's talk about a Sancho Douglas Luiz swap deal, but there's nothing really credible in that. And United looking to sell Sancho, and Sancho wants Juventus. Cool. And then there was this story I found on the One Football app, claiming that Thuram may look to leave Inter because he liked Canalogu's Instagram post, which was seen as defying club captain Martinez. Canalogu wants to leave, go back to Turkey. This incident has sparked speculation and dressing room tension around Thuram and his exit. United, Arsenal, PSG are named as potential suitors, and Thuram has an €85 million release clause. He's not worth his release clause. He's a problem causer. There's a lot of issues around Thuram. He's a good player. I actually wanted him when he was going to be available on the cheap and was surprised we didn't go for him. But there's a lot of external issues and dressing room issues around him, which maybe Amorim doesn't want to deal with. But it could be one to watch, Marcus Thuram. He's been linked to United. I don't think there's much in the story. I think he's fallen out with Inter. Which clubs need a striker? These clubs need a striker. Let's go link them with those clubs. I think that's all it is. It's just journalists trying to put two and two together and probably a little bit of guesswork. But that is the news. And more than the news, to be honest, I just had a bit of a rant. I'm just fed up. So it was just time for a little bit of a rant. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.